Hey guys, let's talk about some offensive line play. You guys have probably seen some of the discourse around Penei Sewell versus Lane Johnson, and I'm not here to hate on Penei Sewell. I think he is a fantastic player. You're debating number one versus number two, and there's a clear winner, and I understand people wanting to stand for their guy, and that's totally fine. But I want to explain to you guys what I'm looking at when I look at film, and why some of the clips, really why most of the clips that are being posted are nonsense. And so my desire is always to educate with film, and I'm always happy to talk about film with anybody that wants to understand what they're looking at more. And that's not how these guys have come across, and that's fine. This isn't for them. This is for you guys if you see some of those and you just want a detailed explanation. So this is my wheelhouse. I like to teach the game. So here we go. Let's dive in. And I want to start off with a rep of Penei Sewell because this one came up alongside of another one, and people were asking why this is a sack but Lane's wasn't. And so let's look at it. So we've got Penei Sewell, number 58 here, right tackle for the Lions. And what you're going to see as I roll this is he's going to get beat to the inside by the defensive end here. And so let's just roll this, and then we'll come back and stop it. And so he gets shed to the inside. The quarterback is pushed off of his spot. Okay, now, this is why I don't love sacks. I like pressures a lot more because this ball should be out. I mean, heck, we've got an open receiver here. We're outside of the pocket. We can throw it away. This should be a pressure allowed by Sewell. Honestly, a lot of this sack is on Goff, right? There's no way this should be a sack. But this is charted as a sack to Sewell because he gave up inside pressure that flushed the quarterback into a sack. Okay, so Sewell is beat. That's a pressure. It turns into a sack. That's a sack that's creditable to the right tackle. Now, this is why we say sacks are a quarterback stat, because I can show you a pretty similar play. Here's Lane Johnson, number 65. He is also going to get beat inside. So beat inside, this is a pressure. We have allowed a pressure. Jalen Hurts navigates the pocket, gets the ball out. It's not a sack. And so if we watch these two reps side by side, so watch, it's the same rep, but side by side, let's watch Sewell first. Again, gives up inside pressure, quarterback's out of the pocket to the right. Now, let's watch Jalen Hurts. Gives up inside pressure, quarterback's out of the pocket to the right. At this point, they have both done essentially the same thing. They've both lost inside. They've both given up a pressure. One quarterback leaves it as a pressure. Another one panics and turns it into a sack. All right, and so this is why I say sacks are a quarterback stat. It's why I don't love sack rate. It's why I don't love charting out sacks to specific linemen. I would much rather look at pressures because both guys committed the same mistake here, but the end result was different. I'm a process guy, not a results guy. So I don't love debating if a sack should be credited to a guy or not. I want to look at pressures. Both guys give up pressure. Unfortunately, Sewell gets a sack because his quarterback does a worse job of managing that pressure. It goes hand in hand. All right? So you could say they were the same on that one. Now let's look at a few more reps that were posted out about Lane Johnson. And so again, we've got Lane Johnson over here. Now I want you to notice where the line of scrimmage is. Okay, we're right here on the solid line. And Hurts is going to get sacked here, but let's watch this play out. Okay, so again, here's the line of scrimmage. Lane Johnson has taken his guy 10 yards deep. This is called running him around the horn, right? A quarterback's responsibility is to step up into the pocket here. We're trying to run this guy around the horn. We don't know where our quarterback is, but we know he should be 7 to 8 yards deep. Hurts is about 8 yards deep. That's fine. This is a good rep. Now, what makes it not a good rep is you're getting pressure from here on the left side, and now you try to scramble out, and you scramble right into a guy. That's simply not a sack that belongs to Lane Johnson. This isn't even a pressure for Lane Johnson, who does exactly what he's supposed to do. If you run a guy 10 yards deep, you have done your job. And so if I'm charting this out, I'm going to give a pressure to right here. This is a pressure, and I'm probably not charting that sack to anybody except the quarterback, if I'm being honest. But again, I'm not concerned about sacks. I'm concerned about pressure. That's not a pressure on Lane. Let's look at this one. Got Lane Johnson right here. He's going to get rushed by a linebacker. Mush rushed, really. I think this is Frankie Louvu. Sorry, this video is a little glitchy. Now, we're locked out. We're exactly where we should be. This is great pass protection situation. We're not going to turn this into a quarterback video, but we've got a guy open coming into the field of vision. But Hurts sees a lane and says, I'm going to scramble. And he scrambles right into a sack. This isn't a pressure. This isn't a sack on Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson did his job. He blocks the guy. You can't hold him when he tries to get back upfield. You're going to get flagged for a holding penalty. So this one's on your quarterback. This is poor pocket management. And again, this is where we say, this is where sacks are a quarterback stat. This is not an offensive line sack. And this isn't me trying to be a Lane Johnson apologist. I think you guys know that because some of you hate on me for calling Hurts out for things or other players on the Eagles for things. I'm not trying to be a homer here. Yes, I root for the Eagles. I try to give objective stuff. This just simply is on the quarterback. And let's be honest, it's a great play by the defense because it looks like the lane is there. Here's another one. You're going to get Lane against TJ Watt off of the edge. Line of scrimmage, 28-yard line right here. And so this is going to be the same as one of the previous ones. Watch how deep Lane Johnson takes him. Boom, we make first contact at like 7 yards. We push him to here. This is like 11 yards deep. We have done our job. TJ Watt's not a threat unless we have bad pocket awareness and we scramble out. So this isn't a pressure on Lane Johnson. It's not a pressure. It's a great job. We do what we're supposed to. This is quarterback play, which is one of the knocks on Hurts is his pocket management at times. And so here's the one that was posted as the gotcha. How is this not charted by PFF as a sack on Lane Johnson? I'll give you my thoughts. First of all, we're going to see this guy jump off sides. So watch him jump. He jumps. The center snaps the ball. I want you to watch how quickly the rest of the offensive line moves. So this is your center snapping the ball early because the guy is in the neutral zone. You're taught to do this. You catch him in the neutral zone. It's a free play. All right, so we snap it early. But you see how slow both of these guys are and Lane is to move? Now, Juergens is moving because he snapped it. Becton is moving because the guy's lined up over him and he saw it. And so he's also trying to flinch to get the call here. But watch how slow the left side of the line is out. The ball's moving. Nobody's moved. Now we move. So everybody's late. That tips you off that the snap came early. We're trying to catch a guy out off sides. Now, unfortunately for Lane Johnson, he sees the movement and he turns his head to look at it, to see what's going on. Now the ball's snapped, and not only is he laid out of his stance, he's looking the wrong way, and the edge rusher gets a good jump, and we're late to get over to him. Lane Johnson does not get beat in a technical sense here. It's kind of a fluke play. Ball comes before it's supposed to. Johnson's doesn't happen to be looking at his guy. He's not beat in any technical sense of word. This isn't a good one that you should use to evaluate offensive line play. There's no technique that's off here. It's kind of a fluke play. Would I chart this as a sack to Lane Johnson? You could go both ways. You could say that this is on Lane because he gets beat, and I'm fine with that. Again, I'm not a big using sacks guy. If you want to count this as this is where I'm a pressure guy. You want to count this as a pressure for Lane? I understand why it happened. I don't think he got beat in any technical sense, but over the course of 1,000 snaps in a season, that's going to be a small amount of white noise in a large sample. If you want to count it as a sack, this is part of why I don't like sacks. This is one unlucky play. He did a worse job in that Falcons clip than he did in this clip, but this clip counts as a sack and as a big thing when you're only allowing like one sack in a whole year. So you get into a sample size and numbers thing. So you can look at this one however you want to. You can say it's a sack that's allowed to Lane. PFF didn't think so. At the end of the day, I don't really care because I don't care that much about sacks. I care about technique and what you're able to do. And over the course of the season, Lane Johnson's phenomenal. So that's all I really have to say on that one. Maybe you don't like that explanation. You probably don't if you're trying to detract from Lane Johnson, but you just tell me, like, is this a normal rep? Is a guy jumping so the snap comes early while you're looking somewhere else because the snap wasn't supposed to happen yet, and then the guy's already by you. Is that a normal rep? I mean, if everybody on the O-line was moving in unison and Lane's just late, that's on him. But this one, I don't really think so. So that's kind of how I look at O-line play. This is why I'm not a big sacks guy. I'm all about pressures, and you have to understand on pressures, just because the guy that you're responsible for blocking pressures and or sacks the quarterback, it doesn't make it your fault, right? The quarterback can roll into him. The quarterback can hold the ball for 7 seconds. If you block a guy out for 5 seconds and then he sheds you and get a sack, I'm not faulting you for that, right? Did the ball come out on time? Did it come out semi on time? Did your quarterback fade 12 yards back like he's playing Madden as a 12-year-old? Did he scramble up into him? All of those things matter. There's more nuance than just posting gotcha clips on the internet. So I hope that's helpful to you guys. There's better guys to look at for offensive line play than me. Brandon Thorne, Duke Mayweather, Mitchell Schwartz. Lots of guys talking about it online because it's been brought into the conversation, but I wanted to make a quick video. Hope that's helpful. If you're seeing this and you haven't followed my content, hit that follow button here on Twitter. You can check out my work on the Eagles Pinpull Podcast Network. I also have a Patreon, patreon.com/ontheshane page, where I post weekly All-22 content during the season and a lot of other exclusive video things that, frankly, I've removed from Twitter because of the toxic discourse around a lot of things. So come check that out there. Hope that's helpful. Happy to answer any questions.